This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody, we are back. We are now back. WFO, how's everybody doing out there? Oh, I am so excited about this show. I got to tell you, I am so excited. And yes, it's because Leah is going to be on the show to talk about her top fuel win at the Winternationals. Yes, but also after this show, like I'm out the door to Vegas. Yeah, something like that. You guys don't need to know about all that stuff, but I am very excited after the big Western swing, fired up even. But first, let me tell you about the people who make it possible to do this show. You guys know every show, every episode, I'm always telling you about like these guys, Total Seal Piston Rings, right? The leader in ring seal technology, the Hidden Horsepower podcast. We just did one yesterday, and just amazing stuff over there. If you've got a stock Eliminator car, Pro Mod car, they do rings for Formula One cars. Can't tell you who, though. That's how top secret it is. But check them out, TotalSeal.com. And my buddy Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com, hot sauces and spice rubs, everything good. Marvin roasts coffee fresh per your order. So you call him 817-924-6821 and say like, hey, this is what I like. This is what I do. I had a couple people in our Facebook group, like comparing it to different, I like this from Starbucks. That's exactly how you got to do it. Except this coffee is like best on the planet. Check them out. That's Rodaks. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Where is the next generation coming from? Well, they're coming up through Samtech. And whether they want to be involved in motorsports or whether they want to be involved in space or aerospace or whatever, they're getting a strong foundational education through Samtech.edu. And then Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. We've been talking a lot about Frank and what they do, the Dragster Adventure. So many champions have told us, like, man, the guy is the goods. Why would you not go and have a fun day at their Dragster Adventure or Dragster Adventure Challenge? Do it now. And thanks to our friends at Nitro Fish. And of course, later on in the show, I'll tell you how to get your own WFO Radio face covering. But first, it's time to bring her on. She won the Lucas Oil Winternationals, and she joins us now, Leah Pruett. Leah, good to see you.
How's it going? I have to say, Joe, every time I see you, really actually always means pretty good things.
That is such a great compliment. Like, thank you for that. And I feel the same way about you. Like when I get to the racetrack and, watching you guys with the electric Cobra Jet, right? Like just seeing that whole process, like that's what we love. We love these, the cars, but it's the people that you get around and it just gets the energy up. So thank you for saying that. And I appreciate it.
Absolutely. From the number one qualifier provisional on Friday to back in the media center to times like this. I mean, we've had a little bit of a dry spell, so appreciate you having me on.
Well, now listen, you've earned your way on. That's one thing about WFO as I structured the show that I don't even have control. We try to get the winners on. The winners need a place to tell their story. And for many years, going back to XM satellite radio, when I was doing NASCAR radio, I always thought, well, all these NASCAR guys get so much, Tony, right? All these NASCAR guys get all these different places where people can learn about them, how they got to be who they are, that kind of stuff. And drag racers didn't have that. And that's why I started this deal and I kept that thing going. You win your way on. And I'm pretty happy we had you on a couple of months ago, though, because now we can like see the arc of the season, right? And you're back in the winner circle.
It's definitely a Lincoln arc. It has been, for those that have been following along throughout our season, right? It's been a little bit rockier than it usually is. And, the win that we had this last weekend at the Winter Nationals, Summer Nationals, it's also quite unconventional. But I have one Wally here in my house, which is from Brainerd. It's right there. And I don't have the Winter Nationals Wally with me because after we got done tearing down on Sunday night and dinner, I sent it with the guys. Usually the driver takes the Wally, but this particular win is so monumental for our team. And it's because of the work that they have put in and digging deep and finding our weaknesses, addressing them, and then overcoming them. And again, even though the final round isn't what we all wanted it to be, we did deserve to be in that final round. And for them to hold that Wally and bring it to the shop and have it there and enjoy the moments. And it was, when I say that, like, tears have been shed in the last couple of months, that's absolute, and by multiple people, from frustrations and when you try really hard and you're trying different parts and pieces and strategies and people, and haven't quite figured out that formula that we have had before. It's very much frustrating, but I keep going back to there. That's why it's a 2-part tuning situation for most teams, where Neil is great at leadership communication, and that's what we need within this team. And Todd is able to aggressively continue to tune and be the leader from the mechanical aspect. And you put those together with a group of individuals, and finally that's what we see. But I can tell you, Joe, just because we've had this glimpse of somewhat greatness and we're finding our way, we're not done. I mean, it's just one little peak of the mountain, right? And once you get to the top, then you know that there's way more. And we can't, I'll tell you this, we know, yeah, we maybe had some sparkling ice spikes on Sunday night and enjoyed that, but right next, was our WhatsApp team message of exactly what's to happen the next day, and to get back and not lose that stride. And that's where we're at today.
Oh, I love hearing about that, because it's not as interesting when everybody just goes out there and has no challenges, right? And you've had so many challenges already, but many more lie ahead. And for me, having you speak to the crowd in Denver as you got out of the car in what had to be like the worst of moments for a race car driver, because not only do you not get to race, but we're down now because of some problem that happened. And you could have very easily said to me, hey man, not now. And I would have been cool with it. Although, I always get pushed, like, get in there. Like I would have understood completely in that moment. And instead you said, no, we're going to address the crowd, and you addressed them like face to face, and you told them what was up, and you delivered. That is so interesting. It's so captivating. And I think you probably, won fans that day, because people follow people in the tough times.
I appreciate that. And I have to say that it wasn't an option for me not to address the fans in that situation. When I had done my burnout, and usually we might have a little bit of leaky fuel at the front, and I'm backing up and I see on the right side oil, and what's definitely not fuel. And any driver will say, until the crew chief or someone from your own team tells you to shut it off, and the starter's telling me, Todd's telling me, and I cannot believe it, that we're being shut off at the Dodge Nationals presented by Pennzoil, what I consider our race, because the fans make us feel like it's our race, between Mopar Mile High Club and the Mopar Block Party, all of that. And then the disappointment that I felt directly connected to the fans, that they are probably like, what? So I felt like a mediator at that point, and I didn't look at it as anything different. And when you believe something, that's the only way to accomplish it. And so I spoke truth, frustrated truth for sure, on behalf of even my team and Don and Dodge and all that. But none of it was on any level of disgust. It was like, okay, we understand we're having issues, and we are in the limelight when it comes to that. And it's also our responsibility to share in that journey. And that is one thing that I do enjoy doing as much as I can, is sharing the highs and the lows, because it is so great when you see someone with their trophy and hoisting it. And when nobody talks about the lows, then I think that they're just kind of take it for granted, and it looks easy, when anybody that's watching this, that's a competitor or even a fan that races, knows none of this is easy. And relatability, I think, is what our team is mostly about. On our car for Dodge SRT, we're literally putting the fastest horsepower accelerating car and relating it to the car on the street that our fans have, and because we're the same real people. But I appreciate that. My mom had even sent me a text and was like, I don't know how you didn't throw your helmet. And I'm like, it's a really nice helmet. I won't mess up that paint job. No, and I will say, what an insane day. It'd been a while since I'd ran both cars, factory stock showdown and nitro, and to lose second round and to still be in competition in factory stock, going from a D&Q in Houston to the final round, like, talk about definitely a whirlwind of emotions of a day. And kind of, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but leading into with Topeka coming up next, having two great horses underneath me and teams and power plants and momentum. I probably have never been so excited for Topeka before.
Right. Well, and you know what? I did mention that we're going to look ahead, and we are. But let's put this one to bed. As in, you were so excited in the winner circle. You hung out for a long time. You had so many fans go by. But it was Chrisman in the first round. You were able to get around him to earn a bye run in the second round. Everybody talks about the short fields. Nobody wanted short fields. Obviously, the heat, the location, the timing. I am just so happy to be racing. But those moments, right? It's like a very Lucas Oil Series kind of thing, a 2-for-1 race. Like if I win this race, I'll get a bye run in the critical heat of the day. That amps up the pressure on any run.
No doubt. And I agree with everybody too. The low fields are not ideal from competition and fan standpoint. But when you really look at the competitive nature that it brings to qualifying, it is most definitely there. Not that we all aren't trying to chip away at our 3, 2, and 1 points, but there is that extra side. And when we qualified second and knew that we potentially, people kept saying, right, potentially you could have your bye run into the semis. We're like, listen, we're happy with where we're qualified. First round, Chrisman is always going to be there as a competitor. And if we stumble and fall, he's there to get it. So to think about that bye run is something that you just have over there. And if you make it past first round, then you get it with that low field. So I will say this, and Todd, Neal, and I were talking, we don't have any setup sheets or notes for 153-degree track temp. I mean, that doesn't exist. I'm inside the car listening to weight calls and overdrive and all that, and I hear 9 on the tires. What? 9? And then as we got later into the day, going into the semis, heard 9.1. I later asked Neal, I was like, at what point, when's the last time you ran this high tire pressure? And it's like, well, I mean, it's a 1/10 of a pound for every 5 degrees. And we just figured we'll just keep in that direction, even though it literally is off the chart. So
wow. And you know
unconventional always.
Great information right there, which is why I love, people are coming on to see Leah, but get information and walk out of here a better fan. And, standing down there was just brutal. Like all day long, it was brutal. Out in the middle of the track, it was baking. And we've heard numbers over 145, 146. And yesterday, Ron Cap said that they had picked up some higher than that. But you do what you got to do. And you guys did it. And you got that 2-for-1 race. So you were able to go out there and get that bye run, setting up a run against, a historic car. And I was so happy and thankful that Mike Salinas allowed or however it worked, that they brought the Travers Tool Blaine Johnson tribute car to Pomona, and they got a win light and everything. Now you got to run up against a car that's a historic car. What was that like, looking over and seeing that car in the other lane, what it means to drag racing with Blaine Johnson? You get to race it, right? Like you never got to race that car, and now you do.
I only got to read about it and watch it, and on Diamond P, and like I even have goosebumps, chills right now, even talking about it. So Salinas, it's kind of a twofer. Salinas I grew up with racing in the Nostalgia Series, and then you have Alan Johnson, this iconic figure that currently, stratosphering cars down the track into championships, and legendary livery on the side. And it was almost somewhat of a comforting feeling in the sense of no matter what the person is next to you, we are all a family in all respect, from drivers that have passed to what's happening now. And it was when I was in the lanes, I thought there's really nothing cooler. Of course, you're thinking about your own car and you're racing, but the respect factor that Salinas was able to do, and the surprise factor for Alan, from what I heard. And it just shows that drag racing truly is timeless, and what you do on the track matters then, and it also matters later on, but the people that are in your wake and who you do it with matter. And it was a weird, comforting, and a very hot competitive situation there. And, I don't know how long that they're going to run that livery, but it just shows, the human nature of drag racing and professionalism, and your heart still is full when you see something like that.
I agree. I if I could vote, I would say, hey, Mike, leave it on until you get a win with it, right? Because I want to see that thing. But they've got other stuff going on. So then it sets up a final round battle against Justin Ashley, who has kind of burst onto the scene as a team owner, marketer, and he does everything great. The kid's an ace, except his best attribute is his starting line prowess, right? You got to go up against him. So how did you guys plan your final round? You had just runnered up out there in Sonoma, so that was a good building block, a step in the right direction, and now you got to go up against Justin. Tell me through the game planning, and then I want to hear about the moment. But first, just like how'd you prep for Justin, knowing the guy's good?
Well, essentially, we've just been ticking off how many times we've made it down the track consistently. Traction wise, to parts, to people, to being in our grooves. So once we got 11 runs and 12 runs, counting Sonoma and all the way in, we were really definitely focused on ourselves and knowing Justin and that competitive car. We had competitive ETs all day. We still had lane choice, and really lane choice didn't happen to be a big factor throughout the day. I liked right. It had less bumps. I mean, I'm talking from the starting line, from backing up to down there to right, was preferred for me. And performance-wise, Todd liked it a little bit better. So practice-wise, there's not really a whole lot of time in the turnaround. And Tony's actually helping doing fuel. Scott's helping with blowers. And so I'm doing shoots. And I do get to switch into my pants real quick to cool down, but I immediately put my race suit back on once the blower's on so I can practice, because I've got connected to my injector is the button for the practice train inside the cockpit. So I tried to get at least 10, 12 minutes in there, but I had to stop because my guys are still putting pulleys on and I'm just whapping the throttle like in their ears. I'm like, okay, I can only practice so much and they can only take this so much. So I did get as much practice time in as I could before Justin. Like he does, it was hot there, but he does bring the heat. So I felt good. I've been hydrating. I will say, right before the final round or after the semis when we came in the lounge, and I told Todd I wasn't feeling very well, and he gave me an extra hydration packet that he usually has. I had my sparkling ice, I have my waters, I feel like I am a true athlete, and I prepare multiple days in advance. And even living in Lake Havasu, where today is 121 degrees, I think I know how to take care of my body. And so leading up to what Justin went through for the final round, I can relate because I felt myself feel that after the semifinal round, but was able to adapt really quick and understand what I was feeling, and was definitely not where he was at. So we got up ready to go. We're in the lanes and I've got a water bottle, and I'm literally at that moment just patting down my back. Mike Ashley rolls over on his scooter and says, "Hey, you guys, it's so hot out. Let's just take as much time as we can." And I'm like, absolutely. As soon as I see the funny cars, JR and Ron getting in the cars, then I'll get in. And so from here is my story from what I could see. And a lot of people were able to see a lot more than me, but I start getting ready, suited. Justin actually gets his helmet on before I do. And as I'm totally geared up, walking to the dragster in the staging lanes. I see Justin is already in the car and he's getting buckled down. So I was going to say good luck, something like that. But his crew person was tying him in. So I get in snug. Pookie is out of the way. And the next thing that I see Justin back in the tow vehicle. I see the back of his blonde head, and I see Mike with him, and they're patting him down a little bit. And then I see Mike take him across the front of my car and help him because he wasn't feeling well. And that was the moment that I knew that Justin was not feeling well and needed to get cooled down. And also we could have had an oil down and I didn't know about it, and he was just taking extra time. So in my mind, the strong part about me is whatever's happening, when they say drivers block stuff out, this is a perfect example of me being in the car ready for the final round. Whatever's happening with Justin, and I don't know the extent of it, of anything by this point, is stay in my own lane. What do we need to do? How do I need to turn to not high side the car to swing around so I can be close? We're in the right lane, whatever it might be. Stay focused on our program and not be distracted by what's happening. And instead we roll up underneath the water. And I'm sorry, we roll up underneath the bridge to get a small piece of shade. And Mike Green had asked one of our crew members if we would wait and give Justin some extra time to get back in the car. We're like, absolutely. I mean, that's what this is about. We want to run him. And so I didn't get to see Ron Capps get the win. Usually funny cars right in front of us and we get to see all of it, but we hung back as long as we could. And then again, everything's behind me, so I can't really see. So the next thing I know, we roll around the corner, line up, and I think we're all good to go. And next thing I know, I get word from Todd that Justin is climbing out of the car. We'd be on a single. And to be honest, it computed that we're on a single, but there is no like joyous factor. It was
no.
Okay, let's make it down. It's really difficult to explain because as a competitor, you are so set up mentally for like fight, not fight and then just make it down. It just seems so out of sorts. So Justin and I, we texted throughout this week. We talked with Mike, and in the middle of that, actually, Tony Stewart had seen what was happening when I was in the car, ran back to DSR, asked Robin, Tadakahara's wife, who works in hospitality, for a big bag of ice, brought Justin Ashley a bag of ice to cool down before, so that everybody was doing everything that they could to help. And the camaraderie after the event was, I want to say thanks to Mike and thanks to Mike Green and to Justin and really stand-up individuals. And I did say, I said, that's why they make more races, because we have another final round to be had.
Yes. And you mentioned several things there that I just want to tick down. So first of all, you mentioned Tony. That caught the eye of a lot of people. Like, he is, I don't even know how to describe it, but he's like shepherding, helping like the sport, right? Not just you or your guys. Like, he's taking some ownership of everything. Like, man, I could be helpful. I heard a couple of conversations about some cool suits and different parts that you can purchase, things that will keep it cool in a very difficult day. He'd know, right? Driving around in that stock car all that time.
That's an impact product.
Yes.
Just to put that out there.
That's very good. That's good that you mentioned. I wonder, are they a sponsor? Yes, they are. But it was just really great to see. But for me, I was so proud of first Clay in Epping and now Justin. The sport is already a sport of courage and danger already. And I just, for so many years, going back in movies, it's always depicted the moment of like, suck it up or tough it out or, hide that you're injured or get out there and do it. And we can't do that with 330 mile per hour dragsters and you in the other lane and fans out there. I was so proud of Clay in that tough situation a couple of weeks back. And now Justin following suit, like, man, I can't do it. I don't want to risk. I don't want to risk myself. I don't want to risk anybody else. I don't want to risk. It's not worth it. And I feel like we're in a great place now that top drivers are publicly making that decision to do the right thing. Like, I feel like we got over a little bit of a hump in athletics. What do you think?
I would definitely agree. And I think that in multiple dimensions, it gives there's the respect factor for the sport that a lot of people have because of the speed. But when you take these highly respected individuals like Justin or Tony throughout and Clay across motorsports, and when they give the merit that even this is too extreme of a situation to race in and it is not worth it, a bell has got to ring for people that there comes a point in safety over entertainment and safety over performance. And I think it just, you have to have a group that can stand together when it comes to those points, and ultimately so that we can all keep racing. So hats off to Justin and to Clay. And one thing I had said at the end of Sunday as well was I had a conversation with a 14-year-old girl for an essay that she had for her high school, where her teacher said that race car drivers were not athletes. And so I had a 2-hour-long conversation with her, junior drag racer and all that. This is a key example of how motorsport drivers are athletes. We might not be curling and in running, marathons, but we do have to be in a particular condition to maintain our performance no matter what's happening. And this is an exact case of that. And even with Clay, I mean, that was an illness that he had and not preventable, but that there's no really room for error. We have to maintain, and this is an 11th month season. So like even today, I got my errands done this morning because now it's 121 degrees outside and I'm not going to leave the house until tomorrow because I don't want to burn up.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, it was great. And it was a good thing that Justin, and I communicated with him as well. And he's just, we learned a lot, right? This swing, we said we were going to learn a lot. We learned a lot, and now we have a weekend off. But just great to see you. And these folks at Sparkling Ice Spiked, they're on board with you for a couple of more races, right? I checked out. What did I check out? I did like full on support drag racing move, and I saw your IG. So I went to the gram, and it says link in bio. So I go to the link. And I click the link, and they've got this great thing where you can put in your zip code and find out where to get the Sparkling Ice Spike. So I put in the zip code, and sure enough, Publix, which is a grocery store here in Florida, 3 Publixes away, right? Like my closest one, no, but 3 away, I can go get it. And so I'm going to go get some Sparkling Ice Spike because of the way that worked, and they did a great job. I'd like to see them on with as many races as is possible. How many are they going to do?
Well, I appreciate that. This is actually my 6th year with Sparkling Ice in general.
Wow.
And 2 years ago, we promoted the Sparkling Ice Plus Caffeine, which is still in stores, but we are the lead on their Spike, the hard seltzer, 4% alcohol, 0 gram sugar, hard seltzer. So they will be back on the car in Bristol during the countdown. And I'll tell you what, they seem to be really great luck. We do really well with them. And Bristol would be a very fine time to be shining during the countdown with another race win. Great partners based in Seattle. They're headquartered up in Seattle. Parent company is Talking Rain, which is a water company that I hydrate with probably 3-4 liters a day. So they're great. I appreciate everybody that has asked about where to find Sparkling Ice Spike. That's why I put that link in the bio, because it's really competing against the where's Tony question and where can I find Sparkling Ice Spiked. So I don't have a link for where Tony is at, but I can tell you how to get the drink.
What's that like? You're in a celebrity relationship now all of a sudden, and he's got these legion of fans. Like I saw a couple of them, and our fans, it's so different, right? Our fans are used to seeing their drivers, and so they don't freak out when they see their drivers. Like there goes Leah, there goes Ron Capps, there goes Antron. It's like, yeah. And last year I saw him, and next year I'll see him because it's part of drag racing.
Yeah.
But when Tony was driving the Cobra Jet, and he's getting in, and Bob is giving, I was just watching the deal, and these guys were like, Tony, and it's like, guys, he's doing something. Number one, he's getting ready to race. 2, yeah, that's him. There he is. He's right there. Now what? Like, there he is. And they're fans, of course. And I'm not demeaning anything. It's just a different kind of fan experience, I guess, outside of drag racing. So now you're part of that. What is that like?
I will give kudos to NHRA, right, with us being the most accessible motorsport in general to fans. So I feel like we just have the more day-to-day great fan camaraderie relationship. And so with NASCAR or SRX or IndyCar or, well, the sprint cars, they have a really great relationship too.
Yes.
I guess it is so far reaching, and if you ever really got to meet him, it would be a little bit rare. I'm not really sure. I wasn't around in those particular days, but it's nice. It's enjoyable because he makes it enjoyable. Very fan friendly. We went grocery shopping yesterday, and we took 3 selfies in the store and 1 in the parking lot when we're loading in the groceries. We both understand, and I understand it even more from being with him. But that is right. That's part of it. That's part of the love. The fans love what we do and support us, and they're excited about it. Now, are there times when someone might be wanting like a private dinner or something? Sure, but that's okay. They're excited and they're gleeful and joyful. And in today's world, that's what we want to be around, is is excited and happy people. So it is a little different, but we don't change anything of what we do about our lives than I used to do. Still gram the same, and maybe not say exactly where I'm at when I'm traveling at a particular time, and just from the safety aspect, I guess. But other than that, it does a really good job of integrating with the fans of all types. Now, let's just say if you were to do something in drag racing, like 10 more races next year, or keep doing fuel at the front of my pit, I don't know if he'll be able to have time to sign and do fuel.
Yeah, he's a worker now, man. He's a worker. He's on the team. He's got to work. That's it. Sorry. You didn't go over to Neil or Todd and when they're looking at the computer and they're like, son, that's the thing. And I don't want to demean any other form of racing, because I love the SRX thing. I got to watch a couple of races on TV during our breaks, and I think they're doing a great thing. The layout of the track is really prohibitive to access on any kind of round track. It's just like fans on the outside, racers on the inside. So it's not that they don't want that access necessarily in IndyCar, NASCAR, any kind of racing. It's just racers on the inside, fans on the outside, whereas a drag strip is a straight line and we can have fans all around. So I didn't want anybody to think that. All right, let's talk Kansas. As I mentioned at the very beginning, I'll be going to Vegas this weekend. I'm super stoked about it. But then coming back, going to Kansas, Topeka. It's been a while since we've been there. We have a great experience every time we go there, because it's really the only thing going, right? For miles and miles. NHRA drag racing in Kansas. I'm fully expecting it to be hot. I'm expecting it to be well attended, and I'm excited about it. You have to be as well, because like you said, you got the showdown car and the top fuel car, and both have crested now. You got a horse you can ride.
I do. I've got 2 very high-powered horses, and we're announcing this week, and I asked if it was okay, and I can announce it here, that the top fuel car will have a different livery on it for this upcoming race. And so we will have Oreo's Cookie Pop on it, which you can find at a ton of stores, specifically Menards. And this is the first race. I'm not quite sure how many more we'll be able to partner with, but I'm talking all new little clusters of Cookie Pops and dough. People are going to be happy about a fast car, and they're going to be hungry looking at it. So we just keep rolling the momentum is what this team does, and I'm excited about it on all fronts.
Oreo's Cookie Pop, breaking news on WFO radio. Everybody needs to share right now. And what Oreo Cookie Pop, are you going to have samples there? I think it's important to have samples.
Well, we're not exactly allowed to sample from the pit, to the fans right then and there.
Nobody cares about them. I mean the announcers and reporters. Sorry, fans. This is about food, so it's different.
Well, and some people say, well, when you win, what's your, Austin Prock, how he got up on the wing, right? Or Cap slides down, does the surfer off the front of the funny car. And I've never had a particular thing, but if we won, and I just thought of this right now, I mean, I'll have some Cookie Pops with me, and I'll just come popping out, and it just it pops everywhere.
Make it rain. Make it rain.
But I think it's a good testament to when people ask, what is the health of NHRA in the sport of drag racing, and where do you think it's at? And I, in my wheelhouse, and for DSR and what we've been working on, is as long as you put in the work and you take the numbers NHRA has and you show compatibility and how to grow, then there are opportunities. And this is just another one of those. So we go from Sparkling Ice Spiked into Cookie Pop. And then from there we have Brainerd with Mopar, and then the US Nationals with Dodge. And it's about keeping in line and doing the best job that you can, specifically on the track. And I will say, Joe, one of my biggest challenges in the past months, besides not just doing well on the track, even just me not doing well on the track, was maintaining what I need to be doing off of the track, because it's much easier when you're winning, and then you're able to promote and share great life experiences and being at the shop and testing and all that stuff. But then when you're not doing well, it's keeping the morale up and the high positive energy. We all are human, and it is a little difficult sometimes. So right now, when I say momentum, I mean all of the momentum. We are taking it and steamrolling it into the biggest Cookie Pop that you have ever seen.
I love it. I love it, because we all need something positive right now. And we want the sport to be fun and competitive and intense with great personalities. And we have it. Always feel positive and optimistic about our sport. And we just got to, the right things need to happen at the right time. Like when you and Brittany raced each other in, I guess, Sonoma, and we looked it up that it hadn't happened since 2017 or some crazy, ridiculous number like that. And I was standing with Reinhardt and I was like, so, they got to run each other. When was the last time this happened? He's like, I don't know. And we looked it up and it was some,
Really?
When it was like 2017 or something that you guys hadn't raced each other. And that was just bizarre. So we need some breaks too, right? Some like lucky breaks to see some good runs. And that was a good run. Everybody was interested in it. And we're getting more of those. We can catch some breaks. People start bringing out the cars second half of the year. We get full fields, and I know we will. This sport is really poised to do well. And I love what you do. Any final thoughts for the audience? You want to tell them anything?
I just really want to say thank you to everybody that's been following along and keeping track with our team, sticking with us through our progress. I will say I tried this thing with Willie B during Denver on his radio, and I had a code word. And if they had heard this code word, then I would have, if a fan came to the track, I would have a special gift for them. And so I don't know, Joe, what do you think our code word could be?
I don't know. I think
let's see.
WFO?
WFO, well, they'll have to know that it came from here. But I don't know. I say Topeka or bust. I mean,
Topeka or bust. Topeka or bust is the code word, guys.
That's the code word. So for those that are attending Topeka and they come to the ropes and they say Topeka or bust, now that we do have some parts, because we have been going rounds, right? Some discs to floaters to belts to whatever they might be. Yes. And I do have to limit it. I'm going to limit it to 30. So I have 30 parts to give out, Topeka or bust. And if they come, then Joe, I know that they heard it here on WFO.
This is so great, except now I feel pressure. Right? I was feeling great. I'm out the door for a vacation. And now it's like, oh my God, are they gonna say Topeka or bust? Are they gonna go talk to Leah? Oh, I hope they do. Right. And they always do, but I still stressed about it. So
we'll make it through, I promise. But for anybody that didn't catch the beginning of the show, if you want to find out where your Sparkling Ice Spiked is located near you, go to my Instagram page. The link is in the bio. You type in your zip code and it'll tell you what store nearest to you carries it. And every week there keeps being more distribution. So if they're not by you right now, I promise you they will be in the near future. And of course, looking for cars, you've got your Dodge SRT wide body Hellcat Red Eye and the Durango, which is available only this year. Only 1 year production of the Durango Hellcat.
What?
Edition. Yes. I missed that boat and I'm trying to figure out how to get back on it myself. So
it sounds incredible. Like, wait a second, Durango, which I already like, but a Hellcat version. Whew.
The Hellcat version available 2021 only. So your Mopar parts, you know where to get them. And of course, DSR, one team, all team. And just really enjoy being back out there with you fans. And Joe, thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Leah. Look at this guy. He says, no split picture, please. Leah's way prettier than Joe. And we all know that. It's true. But, every once in a while I got to ask the question. I got to be on here. I mean, I guess I don't have to. I guess it could just be like this the whole show. But I don't know. I don't think so. Leah, thank you so much. Have a great time. Appreciate you. And I doubt this will be the last time we talk this year. You guys are moving in the right direction. Thanks for coming on WFO.
I appreciate that. Bye, guys.
There she goes. Leah Pruett with us here on WFO. How about that? Topeka or bust, guys. You can't fail me on this one now. This is big. She's going to give stuff out to the audience that are there in attendance at Topeka. So who's going? Yeah. Remember, don't worry. I'll remember it. I'll remember it. How great is Leah? That was so awesome. And just the genuine information, like the thing about, real, you got to be real. You have to be real. When things are bad, you can acknowledge it. When things are good, you can acknowledge it. And that's what she has always done on the show. And she knows the thing that's, I admire is that she's achieved her dream and then had it pulled away, and then achieved her dream and then had it pulled away and keeps coming back. All right. So put your comments in the comment section, guys. I wasn't putting a ton of comments up there because, a lot of them were just like, look at this guy, Jeff. Now we got to go to Topeka. Exactly. And Blake is a big fan of Oreo cookies. Yes. And Paul, I know you're right. Like that, when you're right, you're right. You're right. This guy's right. Right? What's this guy say? Every Italian is good looking. Thank you, Joey Rocket. That's true. And that guy, he said prettier. Like I don't want to be pretty, man. I just want to be tough. I want to be rugged, right? Pretty. Leah can be pretty. Guillermo, look at this guy. Great interview. Thank you. And if you're new to the show and this is your first time watching WFO, subscribe or like our page. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell. We had Caps yesterday. Caps was great also. That we track the winners of the Camping World Drag Racing Series, and we do a lot of interesting stuff. We have our Ignition show. It's audio only. You're Joey Rocket. When I first met you, Joe Castello, you spelled it wrong, though. You asked me if I was Stephen Pearce. Yeah, there was a whole story, Joey Rocket. Are you going to be out there? Are you going to be on the starting line? Joey Rocket, it's a funny story. He's dressed like a rocker. He's got leather pants. It's 150 degrees on the starting line, and he's wearing leather pants, and he's got like metal spikes and a chain and a bandana and everything. And everyone was asking me, like, who is that guy? Who is that guy? And I don't know. And so finally I was nominated to go find out, and I did. I walked up and I was like, hey man, and I know Piercy is now I know because Joey Rocket's a tall guy. Piercy was out there this past weekend for Rat. And they're having such a big resurgence because of that, commercial, the insurance commercial where we got a rat problem and they're down in the cellar. Right. But so I was like, are you Stephen Piercy? And he's like, no, I'm Joey Rocket. And the rest is history. And now me and Joey are buddies. And all people must know, Joey Rocket worked with Garlits. He was on the road with Garlits for some time. So as much as he can play and he looks like a rock and roll guy, he's Nitro all the way. And he loves the Capco guys. All right, so let me tell you about, first of all, the Patreons. The VIP listener club that gets together. They get their Monday motivation, except for this week they didn't get it. They're going to get late afternoon Thursday motivation, probably right after the show, guys. But it's a membership club. It's a listener group. And, you can kick in whatever you want to help WFO exist and thrive and overcome. And it's pretty great. We got people all around the world. And they get some benefits. I don't think they're that great, but they do. And that's the deal. And it just blows my mind that anybody wants to support the show like that. Sponsor the show behind the scenes. They don't get ads, right? It's just about, supporting the show. We've got ads on this show, like Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and the Dragster Adventure, where you can drive a dragster, like you and your friends or your sales team or your best clients or however you want to do it. You can make it personal. You can make it corporate. But at the end of the story, you're in a dragster having purchased really nothing equipment-wise. You show up with the clothes on your back and you drive dragsters for a day. You get a half-track pass, 2 full-track passes, and you're hanging out with Frank, and they travel around the country. Go to frankhawley.com. Find out more information. Like, this is something you definitely want to do this year. You can get it as a gift. Makes a great gift. Like one of our listeners was talking. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Never mind. I almost gave it up right there, but I pulled it back. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, totalseal.com. Hartford and those guys over there doing a great job. Stock Eliminator to Formula One. Not only that, but if you're an engine builder and you're in the business of, one thing we learn on Hidden Horsepower is that just because it worked for you or still works for you doesn't mean it's still the best thing. And that is the lesson of Hidden Horsepower, the podcast. We speak with so many engine builders, and you've got a package that works, combination. Talking about pistons and rings and cylinder walls, and the technology is always moving. And so now there are things that if you haven't really been researching, that I think you'd be very shocked that they exist. Thinner rings that last longer, create much less friction, or comply with certain rules that they perform better while also complying, like in Stock Eliminator, for instance, where you're not allowed to gas port pistons, etc. Go to totalseal.com, but listen to the podcast also. And we got a new episode coming up soon. Doug Yates is going to be a guest from the Engine Performance Expo. And then later on this month, Ken McNamara from Australia. Guy does V8 supercar engines, 410 Sprints. Pretty cool. Long spot, but lots of info. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Judd Massengill was a guest on Hidden Horsepower. So if you want to learn all about Samtech, like if you're thinking about going, go listen to the Judd episode. and he'll tell you how he met his wife and how they started the school and the most amazing story. Like that one should be getting all the listens because the next generation of engine builders and machinists, they're all coming up through Samtech. Man, I mean, there are other schools, don't get me wrong, but Samtech down there in Houston, Texas does a great job, and they place their graduates with trusted engine shops, and it's all about the relationship and the trust. And I know several people that have got Samtech grads, and Samtech, the guys at Stanfield have Samtech grads, and they've gone on to great things, including national event winners. Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. I'm running out of coffee, Marvin. I'm running out of coffee, Marvin. I got to give you a call, Marvin. So busy, but I'm about to not be busy. RODAKS, coffeeandgrills.com. He has first right of refusal to some of the best coffee plantations around the world here in the United States. Can you believe that? Drag racer from Fort Worth, Texas, right? There's different, coffee from around the world, and you can try it. And that's my new thing. It's like, Marvin, just send me something new that I can talk about, whether it be from Ethiopia or the Congo or a blend that he made, because he makes drag racing themed blends, like with a bean from this and a bean from that. And he puts them together. He knows the ratio, and it's all roasted fresh per your order. I get full bean. I recommend you do that as well. Once it's ground, it's a different experience. You gotta grind it. Get a grinder on Amazon. They're really cheap, and then you're good. Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, 817-924-6821. Am I saying that number right? Yes, I do. I think so. You can get a WFO radio face covering. You can do it right now, but I probably won't ship it out until I'm back from Vegas. Just being real. And Nitro Fish. The 10th anniversary t-shirts are in the Nitro Fish trailer. Get it in Topeka when you come up and tell Leah Topeka or bust, like you're going to walk out of there with a bunch of gear. All right, let's see what you guys got to say before this is it, guys. This is the last WFO Joe interaction until Saturday. I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to have a really great time. And that's it. Just try to enjoy myself and decompress a little tiny bit away from racing and WFO, but then go right back to Topeka or bust. Let's see. Okay, here's Joey Rocket. Congratulations to Leah. Got to go to Topeka. I'm catching up. Let's go all the way to the bottom. Have fun in Vegas, Joe. We'll be here when you get back. I hope so. I always have panic, like the audience, like John Force says, like, the audience, will they be there still? Will they forget us? And the good news is the archive will be loaded, and I'll probably program some stuff to tweet out there. Have fun in Vegas. Great time in Vegas. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you. Let's see. I made it technically. Thank goodness for uploads after the show. Yeah, Troy, we try to get the audio only podcast up rapidly. Like that's the first thing I do when I get off the air. I put the podcast up. It takes a few minutes, and then I, push it out there. Not everybody can be watching a screen. There's people who are driving over the road truckers. There are people working in machine shops. There are people working. It can't all be video. There's got to be audio only for people. You're talking to a guy who started out doing AM radio and love AM radio. In the rental cars, I search the AM band. I'm scanning the AM band for something of interest. Leah is the man. That a boy, girl. That's all confusing. Very modern. See you next week, brother. Always a great show. That's every show. Thank you, Joey Rocket. Appreciate you. Oh, it's Jerron. What's Jerron got to say? You think Frank could teach me how to turn on a wind light? Whoo! I had a conversation with Jerron Settles, the flying airbrush, and he just gave me a note. We were going to do it on the show, but we don't have to, Jerron. Just change the fact. Change the reality. That he's lost like 7 or 9 national events with 00 lights. His last X amount of losses. Not all in the first round by any means, but like when he loses, he does it with a 00 light. That is what has been happening. But that's the kind of thing that when it turns around, watch out for Jerron. Shouldn't have told anybody, Jerron. Big mistake. Awesome show, Joe. Great show. Thank you, Jim. See, I'm going backwards now. What's up? You're looking better today. Am I? It's the t-shirt, right? No, it's I'm about to be out the door. I haven't taken any kind of like a vacation of any kind. Like I'm talking to you about it, right? So it's a big deal. Normally I would like keep it, put up some best of thing. No, man. We're going to be off next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to be off. No ignition. No Reinhardt. No nothing on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm going to try to get Matt Smith or very least Aaron Stanfield. See, the reason we didn't have Matt Smith is because they're done until Indy. So we're going to talk to Matt Smith about his win, no doubt, because Matt Smith is dominating. But it's not like they're racing at Topeka. And so that's a good thing. And really, I don't have to rush in Aaron Stanfield either. So I don't think. Then again, that's not right at the top of my mind. But I want to connect with Aaron. And congratulations, because if you follow his social media, you know that they just announced something pretty big. They got a new member of the family coming. The best show of the year, Joe. And that's what I mean about getting a little luck. We've got all these great personalities, but, Steve Torrance is winning every race. And Steve's a great personality, and that team has just got like a grip on success. But we have other great personalities too. And they got to fight their way in there. You don't just give it away like, hey, let this person win because they're an interesting character and they'll be great on WFO. They got to go do it. And Leah did it. And you know what? Justin Ashley, man, I want to connect with him too. Like, he's going to get a win. And there's just so many great personalities out there. They're going to get a win. Rachel, red 18 on the roulette wheel. What was the one you told me the other day? I already lost it. No, somebody said 10 the hard way. At the crowd, am I doing all this? I can't take this from listeners, man. I'll forget them. And then they'll come in as soon as I leave. Great interview today. She was, get out of here, Gary. What do you mean given? There's nothing given. It was, I will say this, and I think she addressed it, and I love that she addressed it. Rock bottom in Denver, runner-up in Sonoma, a win but uncontested in Pomona. It was an uncontested win. They deserved to be there. Stuff went down. It's not their fault. Uncontested win. What does that mean? It means that there's another peak beyond this peak. There's the contested victory. A contested victory will be even better for the team. And by the way, Todd Okahara and Neil, Neil is a really smart guy, man. Like, she's got great people around her. So it's going to be excellent to see. They can continue to build. Let's see. We'll miss you, but you deserve a vacation. You can't miss me if I'm never gone. That's a new saying. Yes. Hard 10. I always thought the hard ways were sucker bets. A vacation from a great job that you have. You do a great job. Thank you. Everyone's too much fluff, guys. Enough of the sucking. Okay. Suck drag racing. No, I got you. Great Bend, then Topeka. Yeah, there's divisional racing going on. Division 2 racing at Galat this weekend. A bunch of interesting stuff going on. So if you're out and about and you're looking for something fun to do, go to a drag strip. Go to a drag strip. Support your local racers. Go find your local drag strip and support some local racers. Or do what I did and go on the quest for Sparkling Ice Spiked, which was actually pretty surprising that I was able to find it so rapidly. So that is good. That is good. All right, everybody. That's it. Oh, this got a lot of love, but I'm not going to do that now. Caps. When Caps comes on, the Cousin Donnie stuff. So many layers. So many layers. Speaking of Instagram, you can follow me, WFO Joe. That's me on all my stuff. Twitter, Instagram, WFO Joe. My Facebook page, it's like, they make you be friends and everything. I should put up a page. But WFO Radio. You get all the shows, our group. We got a group. Everyone's doing a great job in the group, by the way. We've got some VIPs in the group. So respectful, fun, sharing interesting automotive stories or interesting stories. There's really no theme. It's just WFO listeners. That's it. That's the group. What do WFO listeners think? And they talk about different stuff. It's great. I'm real proud of that. Let's see. Indy F1 NASCAR, Gio can handle ignition. I thought of that, except he's going to be in Vegas, so that's out the window. A stand-in, like Johnny Carson had all those stand-ins. Like Carson, man, the OG, the GOAT, the original gangster. Johnny Carson, that's what I always wanted. But he used to have Gary Shandling. Maybe someone someday will be the fill-in host of WFO. Maybe. That's it, man. I got to hire some people. Hire all kinds of people. I need people to make phone calls. So Jennifer Weems, take care of Joe next week. He's coming to see you. What does that mean? I hope I don't need tires. This weekend at Norwalk, Joe, I read that they are sold out. That's a good thing. Night Under Fire. Caps, that's where they're going. Guido tried to get me in. There's a guy that's got to be on the show. Guido. Right, Jerron. Yeah, you can stand in for me. Maybe you'll be the Gary Shandling of this WFO experience. Who knows? Who knows? This week at Norwalk, sold out. Yeah, Night Under Fire. They're going to blow away the wall. It's amazing. Thanks to Leah for coming on the show, and great job by that team. but there's more to do, obviously. Because, okay, the Capco boys lost a race. They lost one. They're going to be back in Kansas, and it's going to be tough. All right, guys, all the best to you. Appreciate all of you. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio. Where is it? There it is.